In this video, I'm going to review the problems that you were asked to do that involved subtracting numbers of different bases. So we start dealing with subtraction. I mean, we have a lot of similarities with addition. It's just now, situations where I have to borrow, I have to be a little bit more careful about what it is I'm borrowing. You know, if I borrow 1 from the 5 to move to the 3 position, I'm not borrowing 10, I'm actually borrowing 6. So the 5 up here is in the 6's position. So I just have to be a little bit more careful when I go through and do this. So when I set this up, you know, it's going to be a base 6 answer. 3 minus 4, well, again, I can't do it, you know, right now as it stands, because 4 is bigger than 3. So I am going to borrow 1 from this and make this a 4 in the 6th position. But when I come over here, I'm going to think of this as 13 base 6 minus 4 base 6, which is going to be basically 6 plus 3, because, you know, when I look, because I'm doing this in base 10, I'm converting this to base 10. And 13 would correspond to 1 in the 6th position, 3 in the 1's position. So 6 plus 3 minus 4, which would give me a 5. And 5 is equal to 5 in base 6, so I would end up with a 5 down here. The 4 minus 4 would become a 0. The 3 minus 2 would still become a 1. And so this one's pretty done. In a lot of instances, you know, once you do your borrowing once, the rest of them kind of fall into place and it becomes quite easy again. It's just that sometimes you have to be on the lookout for those situations where you have a bottom digit that's bigger than your top digit. So let's go to this one here. 1221 base 3 minus 202 base 3. So again, that's going to be a base 3 answer. And I'm going to do the 1 minus 2. Now, again, the 2 is too big, so I am going to borrow 1 from this column. And when I look at this, you know, it's going to be 11 base 3 minus 2 base 3, but I need to make sure that I'm subtracting these correctly, because I got to think of what they are in a base 10. 11 in base 3 is essentially 4. It's, you know, 1 in the 3's position, 1 in the 1's position, so 3 plus 1. And then 2, base 3 is just 2. So 3 plus 1 minus 2 is 2. And 2 base 10 is equal to 2 base 3, so I end up with a 2 down here. Then I move to the next one. 1 minus 0 is 1. 2 minus 2 is 0. And then 1 minus nothing down there is going to give me a 1. So 1012 base 3 is what this would equal. 2173 base 8 minus 1654 base 8. So again, I know I'm going to have a base 8 answer. I'm starting off with a situation where the digit on the bottom is bigger than the digit on top. So, or the digit in the first position is smaller than the one in the second position, whichever way you want to look at it. So I am going to borrow 1 from the 7, making out a 6, and I'm going to make this a 13 base 8. Now 13 base 8, you know, for me to do the subtraction correctly, I got to think of this as a 1 in the 8 position and a 3 in the 1's position. So 13 base 8 is the same thing as 11 in base 10. 4 in base 8 is just 4 in base 10 as well. 11 minus 4 would be 7. And 7 in base 10 is the same thing as 7 in base 8. So we have those. Now I have 6 minus 5, so I don't have to worry about anything there. Move to the next column. I have another instance where the second digit is smaller than the first. So I am going to borrow 1 from the 2. And I'm going to add this to this to make this 11 base 8 minus 6 base 8. Now 11 base 8 has the same value as 1/8 plus 1 in the 1's position, so that's going to be 9. And 6 base 8 is the same thing as 6 base 10. So when I subtract them, I get 3. And 3 base 10 is the same thing as 3 base 8. So when I do that subtraction, I'm going to have 3 there. Just a little bit out of order. Of course, the 1 minus 1 up here is going to become a 0. There's the 3. And so 317 base 8 is what the answer is for this one. For this one, I have two numbers that are base 12, so it's not a surprise to me. I see some letters A and B involved as well, although they don't have to be. And so when I look at this, starting this off, I know the answer is going to be in base 12. The first column, I have a 3 minus a 4, so this is too small. So I'm going to borrow 1 from the 5, making that a 4, which is going to make this a 13 base 12. So I have 13 base 12 minus 4 base 12, which is basically the same thing as a 15 base 10 minus a 4 base 10, which is 11. Now, in base 12 math, 11 is actually a digit. There is a digit that has a value of 11, and that corresponds with B. So when I do 3, when I put the value in here, I'm going to have B here, base 12. I put the B in here. 4 minus 4 gives me a 0. 3 minus 1 gives me a 2. B minus A. Now, B minus A, base 12, is going to be the same thing as 11 minus 10 in base 10, which equals 1. And 1 base 10 is the same thing as 1 base 12, so I'm going to put a 1 here. And so the final answer for this would be 120B base 12. And for this one here, base 16, doing a subtraction, 7 minus 9, again, this number is too small, so I am going to borrow 1 from this. A couple of issues I have to kind of be aware of here. If I borrow 1 from this, it's going to go from E to D. And I'm going to have a 17 base 16, which basically means I'm going to have 116 and one additional number to make the 17. So it's going to be or take that back. It's going to be 116 plus 7 ones is 23. 9 base 16 is just 9 base 10, so it's going to be 14. Now, in a base 16 system, 14, the value does have a digit. The digit is equal to E. So I'm going to have my E down here. Here I'm going to have D minus 8. Now, D is bigger than 8, because D corresponds with the number 13. So 13 minus 8 is 5. And 5 base 16 is the same thing as, or 10 is the same thing as 5 base 16. So a 5 will go here. And of course 4 minus 1 would be 3, no matter if I'm in base 10 or base 16. So that would be the answer for this. The solution would be 35E base 16.
And that is the end of this video. If you have any further questions, please make sure to reach out and ask me about it. Until next time, have a good day.